The moment I opened my eyes, I realized I was a tragic, supporting character in a saccharine romance novel, and that my girlfriend was destined to fall for the male lead. Then the two of them would team up to eliminate me, the annoying obstacle. To protect my precious life, I decided to strike first, because he who hesitates is lost. In the original plot, after my girlfriend was drugged, the male lead would rescue her, and they would spend a passionate night together. But I absolutely couldn't let him have his way. I preempted him and slept with Chloe, then waited for the male lead to arrive. And then I would turn the tables and stage a blackmailing scenario. Chloe, it's over. You're tainted. I don't want you anymore. After scolding the two dumbfounded figures, I ran away. 3 years later, I heard that Chloe was marrying the male lead. Thinking the plot must have run its course, I could safely reappear. But on the very night I returned, I was imprisoned in a basement by Chloe. She flaunted her beauty, her expression deranged and obsessed. Darling, look at me closely. Except for that one night. I'm clean. I've been scrubbing for 3 years. I'm not tainted anymore. Kicking open the hotel room door, I pretended to be shocked in place, staring at the bewildered male lead Ben, and Chloe, covered in hickeys on her neck and arms, her clothes disheveled. My eyes are bloodshot, my whole body trembling. My best friend beside me was unleashing a barrage of profanities at Chloe and Ben. Chloe clutched her clothes, trying to step forward and explain. I shook off her hand, tears streaming down my face. Chloe, is this what you meant by meeting? Chloe's face was pale, her eyes filled with tears. And no, it's not like that, darling. You have to believe me. I only love you. Stop it, I cut her off, pointing at her neck. Are you going to say those marks are from a bump? Chloe pulled open her clothes, glanced at the hickeys all over her body, and shook her head vigorously. Darling, you have to believe me, it's all a misunderstanding. I don't even know. Large teardrops rolled down her fair chin, her hands waving frantically. Try to explain, but not knowing how. She could only look at me, with a loving and mournful gaze. I turned my head away, afraid of ruining my performance. It's over, you're tainted, Chloe. You've defiled our once pure vows. Chloe stumbled, struggling to stay upright, her eyes filled with despair, wiping away the tears from the corner of her eye. I pointed at Chloe and said, don't come looking for me again. Just seeing you makes me want to throw up. After delivering the heartless breakup lines, I wiped my eyes with my sleeve again and turned to leave, leaving everyone with a heartbroken, disheveled figure. My best friend Ethan patted my shoulder to comfort me. David, don't be sad. There are plenty of fish in the sea. It's not worth shedding tears for a scumbag like that. After Ethan finished speaking, he snorted coldly. I misjudged Chloe. I was even a little envious of you two being childhood sweethearts, knowing each other so well. You always cherished her like a treasure. She seemed like a very dedicated woman, but it was all an act. A scumbag. Sensing Chloe walking out of the room and looking in our direction, I leaned on Ethan's shoulder and cried. I love her so much, I really do. Why did she have to do this to me? Why can't true love last? Ethan patted my back with a pained expression. David, no matter how much it hurts, you have to let go. Cheating only happens 0 times, or countless times. Only when we entered the elevator did I stop crying. Only I knew that Chloe hadn't cheated. It was actually me who spent that beautiful night with her. Everything was within my calculations. It turned out that a few months ago, I bumped into a man. And that night, I had a very long dream. From the dream, I learned that I was actually in the plot world of a novel. The female lead was none other than my campus belle friend, Chloe. But the male lead wasn't me. But the man I bumped into during the day, named Ben, David, was just a tragic cannon fodder supporting character. Chloe would awaken after meeting Ben and realize that the affection she grew up with me wasn't love, and she would gradually fall in love with Ben. And my deep love for Chloe gradually twisted me, intensify my possessiveness of her. Then I would repeatedly target and harm the male protagonist Ben. In the process, I would constantly deplete Chloe's tolerance and affection for me. And my parents, in order to help me win back Chloe, would also continually assist me in targeting Ben. In the end, I would be left with a ruined family and my own demise. Originally, I thought this dream was just a joke. But after that, no matter where Chloe and I went, we would coincidentally encounter Ben. And he always seemed so sunny and cheerful. At the movies, Ben was in a row behind us. While shopping, He handed us some promotional flyers. While eating, he was working part-time as a waiter. And even when I enrolled Chloe in a remote university, we still ran in a bin during freshman registration. Moreover, he was in the same major and same class as Chloe. Everything seemed predetermined after that. In college life, we would almost run into him every other day. Either he would accidentally bump into Chloe around a corner, or Chloe would accidentally hit him with her bicycle. Then Ben would be bullied by others, and Chloe would happen to pass by. And although she didn't do anything, the bullies would actually run away. And Chloe was also treated as a savior by Ben. They exchanged WeChat and phone numbers, and Ben even made a cake for Chloe. However, all of this was rejected by my girlfriend Chloe. She only had eyes for me, treating other boys as if they didn't exist. But all of this wasn't enough to give me enough security, but instead made me feel even more fearful. In that dream, Chloe was also initially very annoyed with Ben, never giving him a kind look. Ben was like a ticking time bomb, even if I didn't target him. As in the novel's plot, I felt that Chloe would be snatched away by him sooner or later. And as the book said, Chloe began to have a good impression of Ben because of a car accident. When I realized this was about to happen, I directly stopped Chloe from going out. Chloe looked at me with a blank expression, thinking I had a case of the Sunday scaries. Unable to get up on Monday, she pulled back my blanket, coaxing me. "Honey, get up or you'll be late for class." I pulled Chloe over and hugged her. "Let's not go anywhere today. Can you just stay home with me?" Chloe smiled. "Honey, but I don't want to skip class. It's okay for me not to go unless there's something to attract me to stay home." After Chloe finished speaking, she kissed my lips. But I hadn't brushed my teeth yet, so I covered my mouth with my hand. Chloe then kissed the back of my hand, then kissed all the way up my wrist and arm. I hugged the blanket and hid in the corner. Chloe held my hand, not stopping until her kisses left my lips swollen. However, we usually stopped at that. Chloe wanted to save her first time for her wedding night. Later, Chloe did listen to me and didn't go to class or go out. I thought I had avoided this plot point, but unexpectedly, when we went out the next day, Chloe drove me to class. Chloe, in order to protect me, swerved sharply, taking the impact on her side. I only had some minor scrapes, but I was trapped while Chloe was covered in blood. Looking at Ben rushing over to help rescue Chloe, I understood no matter how hard I try to avoid it, the plot will continue, and Chloe's life was saved. Because of Ben's timely and proper first aid, Chloe's father were very grateful to Ben, and after learning of his tragic background, they directly recognized him as their godson. Ben initially refused uncle and aunt by, "I can't be your godson. Besides, Chloe saved me before. I'm just repaying her kindness." Chloe's father was a little surprised. "Oh, that's how it is, then you two are really destined." Chloe's parents looked at Ben with satisfaction. I felt dissatisfied. I grew up with Chloe, inseparable and deeply attached. Why should Ben, the male protagonist, be able to steal her away from me? At this moment, I understood why I would gradually become a villain. In the novel, who the hell wouldn't care if their hard-earned goddess was snatched away? But I didn't want to end up ruined and bankrupt, and my morals also prevented me from targeting or making things difficult for Ben. This would only make Chloe gradually disgusted with me. Since the plot couldn't be stopped, I could only let go. I can always find another goddess. But if I lose my life, everything is over. But I wasn't willing to retire like this. So for the breakup, and after so many years of affection, I had to get some interest, so to speak. So I designed a scene of catching her cheating. Knowing that Chloe would be drugged on the day she went on a business trip for a meeting, and then have a relationship with Ben by mistake, I went over in advance, preparing to strike first. I took Chloe, who had been drugged away before Ben could. At that time, Chloe's face was flushed, and her consciousness was blurred. To prevent her from waking up midway, I tied her to the bed and blindfolded her. I did these things with trepidation. After all, it was my first time. I was already covered in sweat after I finished, but there was no turning back. I trembled as I unbuttoned Chloe's shirt. Under the influence of the drug, Chloe twisted her body. Her face and figure, like Lou Swanky, were a little too perfect. She mumbled my name incoherently. No wonder Ben couldn't restrain himself. After discovering that Chloe had been drugged, which normal man can withstand such a test? Thinking about how intensely entangled they would be if Ben had arrived first, a nameless fire ignited in my chest. I frantically covered Chloe's body with love bites. After I had completely taken advantage of her, I left through the fire escape, without security cameras, waiting for Ben to arrive. He tenderly untied the ropes and blindfolded for Chloe, and couldn't help but hug her. At that moment, I kicked the door open. With that scene, even the police would make the wrong judgment. Faced with irrefutable evidence, Chloe was speechless. The situation progressed as I expected. She became known as a slut among her friends. While I left this heartbroken place with the pain of losing my beloved, back home I locked myself in my room. The sadness in my heart was real. After all I had invested, all my feelings from childhood to adulthood, and at the same time there was a worry in my heart. Unlike the plot in the novel, I got to Chloe first and branded her as a cheater. Even when Chloe's father came to persuade me, I ignored them. They just felt temporarily guilty. Chloe called me nonstop, but I didn't answer any of them. Finally, she came to knock on my door, which was also what I expected. After such a sudden and explosive breakup, she definitely wouldn't accept it. But I couldn't accept her gradually disliking me, and then breaking up like in a novel. For the next week, Chloe stood guard at my door every day, until the last day when it started pouring rain. Chloe was shivering in the rain. My mother couldn't bear it anymore and let her in. Chloe cried and shouted tremblingly at my door. "Honey, can you open the door and look at me? It's all my fault. Please don't ignore me. I've washed it so many times, boo-hoo." Seeing that I didn't respond, Chloe leaned against the door and muttered to herself, "Do I have to change my entire skin before you'll see me?" Thinking of Chloe's stubbornness, I was truly afraid she would do something like that. After hesitating, I opened the door. Chloe outside was soaked to the bone. Her clothes clung to her body, and the skin on her arms and neck was a little red and swollen. It was probably a reaction after scrubbing so hard. The places where she had hickeys were even scrubbed raw. "Honey, give me one more chance. Please," Chloe pleaded, moving forward to hug me. Just as she was about to touch me, I took a step back. "Chloe, you can still live a good life without me in your world. You can fall in love with someone else. Don't be so obsessed impossible." Chloe shook her head firmly in denial. I looked in her eyes and asked, "What about Ben? Don't you have any feelings for him?" Chloe paused, not answering. Immediately, seeing her reaction, I knew that she was starting to develop feelings for Ben, wiping the tears from the corner of her eyes. With the back of her hand, she took a deep breath. "Let's part ways amicably." Chloe shook her head violently. "No, it's not like that. Honey, listen to me." I raised my hand to stop her from continuing. "After so many years together, let's give each other a dignified ending. Just consider it my last request." After saying that, I closed the door, directly leaning against it. I listened to her pounding on the door, screaming heartbreakingly, "How can you do this to me?" Wah! I called Chloe's father to come and pick her up, then cover my head with the quilt to avoid hearing her miserable cries afterward. I applied for a student exchange program abroad. Then my dad sighed and walked away. My mom sat down next to me, taking out an envelope with a serious expression. "Son, have you run into something lately?" I opened the envelope and saw pictures of my every move from a few days ago, when I went to the hotel where Chloe was staying. After reading, I felt a pang of anxiety. I didn't expect my every move to be investigated so thoroughly by my mom, which also meant that Chloe could find out. She was single, mindedly focused on getting back together with me. Once she calmed down and investigated the details of the drugging and the hotel, the truth would likely be exposed. Mom," I stammered. My mom nodded. "Don't worry. I've taken care of everything for you. No one will be able to find anything out." Hearing this, I finally breathed a sigh of relief. "But you have to tell me, what exactly happened?" My mom looked at me with concern. The hearts of parents are all the same. These are the parents who care about me, the parents who helped me deal with Ben, only to die in the end. After a moment of contemplation, I finally told her about the novel, except I didn't mention the ending, where my family was ruined and everyone died. My mom didn't directly state her opinion. After hearing what I said, I didn't know if she believed me or not. However, the next day, my mom began helping me arrange to study abroad, and it was quickly arranged. I spent 3 peaceful years abroad. Time flies like a white horse flashing past. A pity. The years are like shuttles speeding up. Hearing the news that Chloe and Ben were getting married, the novel was approaching its grand finale. Seeing them finally getting together, I could return home with peace of mind. As soon as I got off the plane, I saw a beautiful woman wearing sunglasses and a cheongsam. She was holding flowers to welcome me. When she took off her sunglasses, I remembered that she was the marriage prospect my parents had found for me. I had been following this while I was abroad. Her name was Emma, a university teacher, intellectual, beautiful, and from a scholarly family. I had chatted with her online for a while, and we got along pretty well. As soon as I left the airport, I prepared to get into the car she was driving. Suddenly, I felt like I was trapped in a realm of ice, and the temperature plummeted. I felt like I was being watched by a pair of eyes. Following my instinct, my eyes met a familiar pair of dark, piercing eyes. I felt like my blood had turned to ice. Chloe, in her high heels, appeared even more slender and graceful. Every step she took seemed to land on my long, dormant heart. Her powerful aura made me involuntarily step back. "Chloe," a magnetic male voice called out, and Chloe paused. Just hearing the voice, I knew the male protagonist had arrived. The flight was delayed a bit. "Sorry to keep you waiting." Ben walked to Chloe with a smile. "There's a driver." There was no need to push back an important meeting. "Just to pick me up." Ben said he didn't need to pick her up, but the smile in his eyes betrayed him. Watching Ben's face beaming with happiness, the flowers in his hand felt like thorns, causing a sharp pain. This scene was so familiar. Wherever I went, plane or high-speed rail, Chloe would always pick me up beforehand. But now that privilege no longer belonged to me. Forcing myself to calm down, I managed a weak smile at Emma. "Let's go. My dad are waiting for me to come home for dinner." Emma seemed to recognize them too, nodding politely before turning to leave with me. "Isn't that David been called out to us?" As if he had just noticed me, he quickly walked up to me, his eyes filled with a smile. "It really is you, David. It's been years, and you're still so handsome." This reminded me of that group that ended before it even started. One of them took the lead in introducing himself. "I'm so handsome." The other guy gave him a disapproving look. "This beautiful lady next to you must be your girlfriend." What a match made in heaven. Ben's words pull me back to reality. Then, without waiting for my reply, he pulled out an invitation from his bag. "Chloe and I are getting married soon. We're old friends and classmates, so please make time to attend." I casually took the invitation, trying my best to maintain my composure. "Yeah, definitely." I naturally got into Emma's car and closed the door. From beginning to end, Chloe didn't say a single word, as if she were mute. But her gaze was fixed on me like a sniper's scope, making me inexplicably uneasy. "What's wrong, David? You seem so distracted." I shook my head, trying to shake off the strange feeling. "Nothing, just a little tired from the long flight." The news of my return quickly spread throughout my circle of friends. Every other day someone would invite me to dinner. My good buddy, Ethan, even put his arm around my shoulder and said, "David, be honest with me. You came back at this time. Are you planning to crash the wedding? Just say the word, and I'll go to the ends of the earth for you. I'll definitely snatch Chloe back for you to be your wife." I gently shook my head and raised my hand to stop Ethan from talking nonsense. "Don't talk nonsense. Chloe and I broke up a long time ago." The friends present sighed back then. "I'd rather believe in the end of the world than believe you two would break up." What exactly happened back then? How did Chloe end up falling for Ben? Faced with the questions from old classmates and the sarcastic remarks from some high school classmates, I didn't bother to respond and excused myself to go to the restroom. As I turned the corner after leaving the restroom, I bumped into a familiar, fragrant embrace. Looking up and seeing that familiar, beautiful face, I quickly stepped back. "Darling, it's been 3 years. Don't you even want to see me?" But those words startled me. I suppressed the impulse to reconcile with her. "Miss Chloe, you're about to get married. You should be loyal to your fiancé." Calling me that makes me very uncomfortable. Turning to leave, a hand suddenly reached out from behind, pressing a handkerchief against my mouth and nose. A strong, pungent smell assaulted me. There was medicine on the handkerchief. After only a couple of breaths, I realized, wanting to resist. But darkness descended and I lost consciousness. When I opened my eyes again, I was lying in a completely white room. My hands and feet were restrained to the bed, and the room contained nothing else. The walls were sealed without even a window soon. The door opened, and Chloe, wearing a dress, walked in. It must have been Chloe who kidnapped me. But the viciousness of her methods filled me with dread. "Chloe, what do you want, baby? I missed you so much." Chloe's eyes were glazed over, Then her expression suddenly shifted, her gaze turning sinister. Why were you smiling at other women? How could you fall for someone else? My collar was suddenly yanked, pulling me close to Chloe's face. Now I'm going to punish you. With that, she leaned in for a clumsy kiss devoid of any skill. Like gnawing on a watermelon, I bit down hard on her lip, and a salty metallic taste filled my mouth. Chloe recoiled, seeing my bloodshot eyes. She immediately slapped herself. Sorry, baby, did I hurt you? Tell me how you want me to make it up to you. Can I pay with my body? I stared in her eyes and said in a low voice, Let me go? Chloe fell silent after hearing that. I frowned. Don't tell me you want to imprison me for life. Chloe shook her head vigorously. No need, baby. Trust me, I'll let you out soon. Chloe's thought process was currently abnormal, although I didn't know what she was planning. At least, she wasn't mistreating me. And she even thought to use my phone to send messages to my parents, saying I was going on a trip to relax and would be back in a few days. In the following days, Chloe took care of me exactly as she always had, the only difference being that I was imprisoned. Fortunately, my good behavior made her lower her guard, and she allowed me to move around the villa, watching her busily preparing for the wedding. Every day, a wave of hatred inexplicably arose within me. As night fell, Chloe once again lay down beside me, and I quickly moved away. Stay away from me. Chloe blinked her big eyes at me, then began to unbutton her clothes. I hurriedly backed into a corner. Chloe, you're crazy. You're getting married soon. What are you doing? Don't make me look down on you. Chloe continued as if she were deaf, and I rushed to the door wanting to get out. But without the password, I couldn't leave. Just thinking about being violated by Chloe, it seemed I couldn't even sue her. Just as I was despairing, Chloe revealed herself to me like peeling an egg, and she slowly walked over. Baby, look at me carefully. I've been scrubbing for 3 years. I'm not dirty anymore, really. Hearing these words, I panicked, but she was about to marry Ben, finishing the last part of the storyline with the male lead. I quickly cover my eyes. It's not a matter of being dirty or not. You need to consider what Ben thinks. Chloe stopped what she was doing. The sick smile on her face vanished, replaced by a gloomy expression. She pulled my hands away from my eyes, pressed her face close to mine, and screamed, You are everything to me. I'm sorry for you. You can punish me, even kill me, but you only think about abandoning me. Did you never love me at all? I was shocked by Chloe's possessive state. Her already large eyes now seemed even bigger. What was even more shocking was that Chloe picked up a knife, handed it to me, then used her hand to grip my hand holding the knife, and directed it towards where she used to have a hickey. Come on, baby. Let's cut off all those marks. The tip of a knife touched her skin, and a trickle of bright red blood seeped out. I hurriedly tightened my grip on the knife handle and pulled it away. Chloe, are you crazy? You're not dirty. I was the one who touched you back then. I originally thought Chloe would question why I did that. Back then, unexpectedly, she just stopped what she was doing, shook her head, and murmured in despair, I don't believe you. You're lying to me. After saying that, Chloe suddenly lashed out, reaching out to snatch the knife. Her movements too sudden for me to react in time. Chloe snatched the knife from my hand and stabbed it toward her chest. In the nick of time, I quickly reached out and grabbed her wrist, shouting loudly, If you do that again, I'll never talk to you again. Get dressed and get out of here now. As if following an order, Chloe picked up her shirt, dress, and stocking from the floor. She put the knife away and reluctantly lay back on the bed. Chloe knelt on the bedhead, looking at me. Baby will still want me, right? Can I sleep next to you tonight? I couldn't be bothered to pay attention to her. Turned around and wrapped myself tightly in the blanket. I heard a faint sound from behind. I turned my head to look and saw Chloe lying on the floor, closing her eyes as if preparing to sleep. After midnight, the movement beside me woke me, who was already a light sleeper. Then I heard Chloe get up and leave. I followed her barefoot and stealthily. Chloe left my room and entered another locked room with a password lock. As she entered, the door automatically locked. Helpless, I could only return to the room and lie on the bed counting sheep. 3 or 4 hours later, Chloe returned. Exhausted, she lay down beside me, grasped my hand, kissed it, and whispered, Husband, it will be over soon, pretending to be asleep. I didn't know what she meant by over, but it was probably related to the secret room across the hall. After sunrise, Chloe left as usual, I walked out of the room and found a secret room. It required a 6-digit password to enter. Entering both of our birthdays and various anniversaries didn't work. Finally, I entered the day we broke up after the incident. With a beep, the door sprang open. I felt a chill the moment I walked in. This secret room was much worse than the one I was imprisoned in. It was cold and dark. I turned on the light. I saw a prisoner's chair in the center, with 4 handcuffs to secure the limbs around it. Beside it were tranquilizers, and even an electroshock device. Chloe had never used these on me, so it was likely she was using them on herself. Judging by her condition, she did seem to have some kind of mental illness. But even after looking everywhere, I couldn't figure out what kind of mental illness she had. I could only put everything back in its place. Left the secret room and went to the courtyard. David. A familiar voice made me freeze in place. I turned my head and saw that it was Ben. The corners of his mouth curled up, revealing a sinister smile. David. David, you're really a persistent ghost. As cannon fodder, you should know your place. Otherwise, the consequences will be very dire. Cannon fodder. So Ben also knew about the novel's plot. I couldn't reveal my hand, pretending to be ignorant. What are you talking about? I don't understand. Ben tilted his head and looked at me smiling. If you didn't understand, why were you in such a hurry to go abroad? Back then, at this point things were almost explicitly stated. I remained silent, waiting to see what would happen. Ben sighed. Chloe has mental and psychological problems. What are you trying to say? I frowned, looking at him, wondering what he was up to. It's all your fault that she went crazy. Don't appear in front of Chloe again, or else. Standing there and looking at him, I sneered and replied, if I leave, she'll really go crazy. Ben snorted through his nose. When I marry Chloe, I hope to still see that smile of yours. After saying that, Ben left on his own. After Chloe came back, I still wanted to get some information out of her, but I couldn't get any useful information from her. When she was sober, finally an idea struck me, and I fed her alcohol mouth to mouth. This trick really made her unable to stop. Seeing Chloe's eyes already unable to focus, I pulled her in front of me and asked, Chloe, what's wrong with your mind? Chloe shook her head dizzily. No. What could be wrong with my mind? Nothing. Then what about those things in the basement? Hearing this, Chloe pouted and hugged me, crying, I don't know, honey, I don't know what's going on. Other men keep appearing in my mind. I don't like him, but my mind keeps reminding me that I love him. Saying this, Chloe stopped sobbing. Baby, don't worry, I can control my thoughts now. I won't let any other man touch me except you. I feel disgusted and want to vomit when I get close to other men. Chloe's words made me understand what was going on. She has those memories from the novel, with Ben in her mind, and these memories have a deep impact on her. It keeps reminding her that she loves Ben, as if someone forcibly implanted the memories into her brain. Even if I say that the person who had sex with her was actually me, she doesn't believe it at all, because in her memories she had sex with Ben, and Ben's memories are the same. Seeing me silent, Chloe quickly cupped my face. Honey, I will soon be able to completely erase him from my head. Don't abandon me, okay? I can't live without you. I kissed her on the lips and hugged her tightly. Chloe, let's work hard together from now on. I love you. I had always thought that Chloe had genuine feelings for Ben, so she chose to let go. But from the current situation, this is the influence of the novel's plot. On the day of the wedding, Chloe put on her wedding dress and knelt at the head of my bed. Baby, I'm gonna marry someone else later. I turned around, go. I tried to pretend I didn't care, but I was panicking. Inside, Chloe's resentful gaze almost enveloped me. The phone kept ringing, urging her to hurry up. Unable to bear it any longer, I sat up and pointed outside. Go now and finish the wedding process. Don't do anything else. Hurry. Chloe's face was full of grievances, and tears were about to fall. I leaned down and kissed her forehead. Don't worry, I won't let the wedding go smoothly. You will always be mine. Chloe's eyes lit up when she heard this, and she hugged me, kissing my lips like a chick pecking rice. At the 7-star hotel in the city center, the scene was luxuriously decorated and full of distinguished guests. As the auspicious time arrived, the door opened, and Ben made a dazzling appearance in a custom-made suit. Chloe, on the other side, looked around somewhat nervously until I met her gaze. Her eyes instantly filled with affection. The MC went through the process one by one and asked Ben, Mr. Ben, whether in wealth, poverty, or sickness, Are you willing to stay by Miss Chloe's side and marry her as your wife? Ben looked at Chloe with a smile and nodded heavily. I do. Then the MC turned to Chloe. Miss Chloe, are you willing to marry Mr. Ben, whether in wealth, poverty, or sickness? Chloe turned to look at Ben, then looked at me under the stage, took the microphone, and said loudly, I don't. I love David. Amidst the surprised gazes of the crowd, I directly flipped onto the stage, knelt down on one knee in front of Chloe, lifted her hand, and put the diamond ring on her ring finger. Chloe, are you willing to come with me and marry me? A happy smile appeared on Chloe's face. I do. Ben reacted, his face turning ugly as he looked at Chloe. Chloe, look at me. The person you love most is me. The person you want to marry is me. Chloe shook her head. That's not right. From beginning to end, the only person I've ever loved is David. Holding Chloe's hand, the two shared a passionate kiss under everyone's gaze. Ben stumbled backward in disbelief, falling to the ground, then spitting out a mouthful of blood. He shouted into the air, no, the plot isn't supposed to go this way. Chloe should be marrying me. System, come out, come out. Ben's behavior sent shivers down everyone's spines. The guests quickly left, and the wedding ended. Chloe's father suddenly woke up as if from a dream, repeatedly apologizing to me, saying they didn't know why they agreed to Chloe marrying Ben. According to Chloe's father, the two of them felt as if they had been hypnotized, with a voice constantly saying in their minds that Ben was excellent, and that he and Chloe were true love. After the wedding ended, the people around Ben woke up, as if from a dream, and all left him. The voice in Chloe's head also disappeared. However, she did have mental problems, and gradually recovered after treatment. I placed the information my mother had collected in front of her, telling her that I was the one who had been with her back then. Chloe's expression was blank. After reading the information, I lowered my head and said sincerely, Chloe, I'm sorry, back then it was. Suddenly the light dimmed, and I was enveloped in a soft embrace. Chloe's voice came from above. That's great, darling, I'm not tamed. She started crying as she spoke, then laughed again, and then began to get handsy with me. It was all hazy and over so quickly back then. I want to experience it properly. I glanced out the window through the blinds. Her company employees were working diligently, and I quickly dissuaded her. We're in your office right now, and it's broad daylight. I don't care. I wanted Chloe transformed into a domineering CEO, leading the whole time, while I was only responsible for the intense pleasure. Next was a shameful, everyday life. I thought the story would end here, but what I didn't expect was Ben kidnapped me. With a scruffy beard, he slapped me across the face. My face burned with pain. David, I don't understand. Why is your life so good? No matter which identity you choose, Chloe will always choose you. I just wanted to complete the plot and survive. I just want to live. What's wrong with that? From Ben's words, I analyzed that he had 3 opportunities to conquer Chloe. The first time was by using my identity, Chloe's childhood sweetheart. But Chloe fell in love with the lonely and helpless me. The second time, he chose to be that lonely and helpless Ben. Originally, according to the plot, he should have married Chloe, and I would have been ruined. I didn't expect Chloe to choose me in the end. The third time, he still chose the orphan identity, but used something like a system or plot kill ability to hypnotize Chloe. This was actually cheating, which could improve the success rate. But the price was that if the conquest failed, Ben would also lose his life. On the wedding day, Ben used the system's ability to hypnotize Chloe again, but he didn't know that Chloe had spent 3 years constantly tormenting herself, thereby making herself immune to hypnosis. Having exhausted the last bit of the system's power, Ben's life was coming to an end. When Chloe arrived, Ben held a knife to my neck. Looking at Chloe, who was rosy-cheeked and graceful, Ben went completely insane. Chloe, the person you love the most is actually me. Right. Chloe and I looked at each other and nodded slightly, as if understanding each other's minds. Then Chloe opened her arms. Come give me a hug. Ben's eyes were glazed over and his hand loosened. I quickly grabbed his wrist holding the knife, a skill I had practiced. With a twist, I disarmed him. Several officers instantly appeared behind Chloe and subdued Ben. Chloe hugged me, trembling all over. I smiled, looking towards the opposite balcony. Don't worry, isn't there a sniper over there? I'll be fine. A week later, Chloe knelt down to my workplace and proposed. Before that, what she was meticulously planning was actually our wedding. When I said I do, Chloe ran a red light and dragged me to the Civil Affairs Bureau, getting our marriage certificate with lightning speed. After getting the certificate, she immediately and publicly announced our moments in Weibo. David is mine and I am David's. On our wedding night, while toasting the guests, Chloe whispered in my ear, "Don't drink too much, there's a surprise tonight." Filled with curiosity and anticipation, I saw off the last guest and hurried back to our bridal suite. I saw the floor covered in rose petals, from the hallway to the master bedroom, and the ceiling was adorned with paper cranes. Pushing open the door, the room was filled with festive cheer. On the bed covered with rose petals, Chloe was wearing a white wedding dress, her hands and feet tied with ropes. I stood there stunned. Chloe's voice was sweet and seductive. "Husband," the theme for our wedding night, reliving the old dream. Taking off my shoes and socks, I hurriedly climbed onto the bed. "Aren't you going to blindfold me tonight?" Looking at Chloe's provocative gaze, I took out a lace blindfold from the drawer that I had prepared and slowly leaned in.